1015 FM, 720 AM. KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. 1 full hour of wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's bring on the tag team of Andrew Fish Fain, Joe DeFalco, and your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody, it's Sunday morning. Sunday,
bloody. Oh, no.
No.
We're not doing your whole U2 reference thing?
No, I was just trying to be peppy. I didn't.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah. Maybe I was trying to make some ears bleed out there. I guess. I don't know. I didn't try it. I apologize, Fish. I mean,
that's all right. But if you're in Toronto, Los Angeles, or Boston, not real peppy after the 3 Game 7s in the NHL last night.
No, especially if you're in Toronto, I would think that you
would
would
of all of them, that would be the worst.
I think you'd kind of be
all you have
all
you have left to look forward to now is the Mark Hoke Show.
Well, a lot of us, we have a lot of listeners up in Ontario.
That's what I'm saying.
So, sorry, guys.
But instead, we're a good consolation.
Look, some poutine. Some
that's that fry thing, right?
And the Mark Hoke Show, you'll be all right. We promise.
And some Molson.
It'll be okay.
Lots of Molson.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Or Labatt's.
Yeah, Labatt's.
Couple of Labatt's Blues, you're good.
Yeah.
Go to Tim Hortons for some donuts.
Some Canadian Windsor. Yeah.
Just say sorry a lot. I'm sorry.
Hopefully we don't just lose all our downloads.
We didn't just alienate all of our Toronto folks.
Yes. This is the Mark Hoke Show, the #1 professional wrestling show in Las Vegas. I am Mark Hoke, the aforementioned one, and Andrew Fish Fain
right here
in attendance. We're missing Joe DeFalco this morning. He did a show with me, that special Saturday edition last night, which is up. The podcast is available on markhokeshow.podbean.com. But
it's a must listen if you haven't listened to it yet.
Yeah, Joe may be in slumber mode.
Because you never know what Joe's going to say.
Yeah, that is true. But I do have to compliment you on the Orioles jersey. Nice to see
I did wear it in your honor.
It is a Tejada jersey, though, which didn't end well.
No, but it's still Orioles. I have a Brian Roberts jersey. I just decided to go Tejada today.
B-Rob's a good dude, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I think it was better than a Sixers jersey.
It's funny, and I'm going to mention this real fast. I was screaming 6-6-6-6-6-6-6, thing for the Sixers, who were going to win the series in 6.
Yes, that's what
and
you
they
said on
bombed
Monday.
out. But on the record, at the beginning of the series with Ken on SportsX Radio, which Fish co-hosts on Monday nights here on KDWN 1015 FM, 720 AM, you know what my prediction was. Miami in 6.
Yeah. See what happens when you go back on your word?
Well, I'm still a Sixers fan at heart.
Yeah,
so.
I don't want to talk about it now because we'll talk about it tomorrow. All I'm going to say is the reason you lost is 2 words, James Harden. All right, next.
Thanks. All right, let's talk some wrestling. Fish, I got to say, we actually had a good week of wrestling this week.
It's
all around.
But it's bizarre to say, but yes, we did.
I was watching good in-ring action.
Has the WWE creative turned a corner,
No.
or is this just a one-off?
No, this is a one-off.
Okay, fair enough.
They got lucky.
Fair enough.
But obviously we get to start off the week. We start off the week on Sunday night with WrestleMania Backlash,
which surprisingly was a very small card.
Yeah, but it was good.
It was a very good card. Absolutely.
I have to say that I wish all the matches on WrestleMania Backlash, that match quality on Backlash would have been as good as WrestleMania. WrestleMania
for
was
his
not
namesake. Yeah, no, exactly.
It was. You know, it was funny because we were, you know, I was even saying on last week's show, even the Happy Corbin Madcap Moss match was probably going to be a decent match.
It was the worst match of the night, and it was a good match.
And it was a good match. Absolutely. I mean, I had absolutely no complaints about this card.
No, and we predicted, I think, everyone correctly. I think the only one I got wrong, I think I maybe got the main event wrong. I thought that Drew McIntyre was going to pin one of the Bloodline and therefore get his claim to have a world title shot.
Well, it's because you're wrong a lot, but, you know, it's okay.
But even down to the fact that someone other than Damian Priest would come down and interfere, and a new Judgment Day member would be announced.
Yeah.
Sure enough, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, we had this one. But just to break that card down, Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins kicked it off with a match that was even better than the WrestleMania match.
Absolutely.
So, Cody Rhodes getting the win.
And I would say, and WWE did the right thing without having a 50-50 booking. The only thing I'm afraid of now is the next premium live event is Hell in a Cell, and I don't need to see them battling a Hell in a Cell now.
Well, unfortunately, they spoiled it on Raw the next night, and I'll get into that in a little bit, but you know, I don't want to ruin the euphoria of Backlash.
Okay, keep going.
Omos and Bobby Lashley,
better match than I expected.
Shockingly better match than I could have imagined. I thought this could have been the burial of Bobby Lashley because he was going to lose to somebody that can't wrestle, but Omos actually did a decent job.
He did, and MVP in his corner really helps.
Yes, it did.
Because remember, MVP wasn't in his corner for WrestleMania, which is apparently the impetus for MVP being in his corner now, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, MVP is certainly proving to be a valuable asset.
Yeah, and the fact that the monster that Omos is doesn't need a guy like that in his corner, but needs a guy like that in his corner is pretty cool.
You know, and
it worked out well.
And it's too bad Joe's not here because one thing I wanted to ask him about, and you know, we'll talk about this a little bit, is WWE had really gotten away from having managers. But as we're seeing, you look at the Roman Reigns bloodline, that doesn't happen without Paul Heyman.
Correct. Now
we're looking at another example here with MVP, who really, before they wrecked the Hurt Business, which was Bobby Lashley and Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, which was the hottest thing on Raw for a while. You know, MVP came in and turned that thing into something really special. And now, all of a sudden, you put MVP with Omos, and Omos looks presentable.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about it, I love what they're doing with Cedric Alexander, trying to get curry favor with MVP.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see when you have managers and you think about all the great ones. A lot of times, managers were either used to cover up the weaknesses, shall we say, of wrestlers who maybe weren't very good on the microphone.
Andre the Giant.
Well,
Bobby the Brain Heenan was a perfect manager for him when he went heel.
Well, yeah, but I think he would fall in the second category though, because the second category is they're heat magnets. So not only do you have somebody who is already a wrestler that you hate, but now you bring in someone who can magnify that heat and make it white hot.
And you know who I don't think gets enough credit for that as a manager, especially because he became a kind of a face manager, was Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, absolutely. God, everybody hated him
because he became a face manager when he took over with Hogan and became Hogan's running buddy or whatever.
Yeah.
But when he was the Honky Tonk Man's manager or the original Hart Foundation, and you absolutely
take it back to Memphis when he was messing with Jerry Lawler.
Yeah,
for all
you
those
absolutely
years.
Could not stand the man.
Oh God. And you think about guys like J.J. Dillon, and J.J. Dillon was a nightmare to deal with.
Oh, absolutely.
Bobby Heenan.
And see, you had the next level of managers, guys like Slick and Harvey Whippleman, and who those guys to me had no business being there. They weren't on the same level as the Heenans, the Harts.
Freddie Blassie is another
classy
one.
Freddie, there. Pencil neck geek.
Man, love the guy though. But he was a terrific wrestler too. But obviously, this to me should be a sign to WWE. that a manager, if you use them properly, should be involved, and you should have more of them.
And that's the key, though, if you use them properly.
Right.
If you start overusing managers again, they become completely worthless.
Right.
And like sometimes a valet, even Zelina when she was with Andrade.
She was terrific.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But you don't want to overuse a manager and have all of a sudden a manager be with people that don't necessarily need one or aren't at a high enough level to have a manager. But almost as perfect because he's still a monster. Having MVP doesn't make him any less of a monster. It just makes him a better wrestler.
Yeah, you think of like Jim Cornette, with the Midnight Express, and when he had Big Bubba Rogers come in, when Rogers started wrestling, of course, he became the big boss man. Boy, was he an asset to Rogers. It's a guy like that can really do something special and take a feud to a new level.
And I don't know if managers get enough credit for what they do. Because you're absolutely right. Bobby Heenan took a guy like Big John Studd, who by himself probably would have been nothing, but became one of the most hated wrestlers in the world because he was with Bobby Heenan.
Well, and one thing that people forget about managers as well is they're not in the... I mean, they're involved in the match, but they're not in the match. So they can see things that are going on. And a lot of times when they were out on the road for 200 matches a night, they would be able to put things together and see things that the other guys maybe didn't see while they were in there. It was like you had somebody videoing a match without actually having videotape.
Right, because sometimes the wrestlers can't see the forest for the trees. They're in the middle of it. The manager can see the whole picture.
Right. So
he's also there to rescue somebody if someone gets hurt or if something goes wrong.
Or they have to occasionally rescue the manager.
Exactly. Which
happened to Cornette a few times. But anyway, so now we'll see how that turns out. Edge and AJ Styles, pretty good match. Well played with the AJ Styles shoulder thing. And then, of course...
predictable ending. But the funny thing is, even though it was predictable, it was still done well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you would expect that from these two. And then, of course, there was outside interference. So we had Damian Priest barred from ringside, but he stopped at the line,
which I thought was stupid.
That I didn't need.
Bad. But they didn't need that whole thing.
But then someone came in and
a hooded figure.
And that hooded figure, go figure, was Rhea Ripley. And I am pumped up about that. I'm so happy for her that she's going to get that kind of an opportunity to work with those guys.
She will learn a lot. Oh. You working with, not even working with Damian Priest necessarily, and that's not a knock on Priest, but working with Edge.
Oh.
She'll learn a lot about ring psychology and learn how to tell a story in the ring.
Absolutely. So I think that's terrific that she's going to be part of the Judgment Day stable.
I wish they could only change the name.
I know. I just wish they'd do that. But, what are you going to do? Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. And Joe and I were talking a little bit about this match when we kind of had a general discussion about ring psychology. But boy, I'll tell you what, harken back to the Magnum TA Tully Blanchard I Quit match back in the 80s, which is the one that everybody still talks about.
It's the standard bearer.
This was close.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Not bloody like that one, but I got to tell you that these two...
anguish and... anguish isn't even the right word. The animosity between the two.
They were there at WrestleMania. That you saw that really coming through, and then they fine-tuned it for this match. And if you haven't seen it, I would recommend going back and watching
this
one.
That's definitely a match of the year candidate.
It was terrific. It was absolutely
we're only
terrific.
in May, so we have a long way to go.
And the storyline broke Charlotte Flair's arm. She's going to be taking some time off, not because of the arm, but she's
marrying Andrade.
She's going to be breaking beds and not arms because she and Andrade are getting hitched. So congratulations.
This was to I Quit matches what the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian were to ladder matches, because the ladder matches everyone goes by as Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels. And the closest would be the one when Edge speared Jeff Hardy off the top of the ladder. This is that version of that.
It was really good.
It really was. Fantastic.
Yeah, so if you get a chance, go back and see it. You will be glad you did.
And even when you watch, one of my favorite moves was Charlotte putting Ronda in the bank statement on the metal railing, because that's exactly what happened to Charlotte from Sasha Banks when Sasha Banks won the title from her. Because she had her in that exact same position.
There were some painful positions.
Yeah, to say the least.
Not something you want to do on a Saturday night.
No.
I mean, well,
maybe with Charlotte.
Maybe it is Las Vegas. You never know. Madcap Moss beats Happy Corbin. Don't really care to a point, but it was a solid match.
Yes,
solid match. Both, and I really think that that Corbin just doesn't get the due that he deserves in the ring, and
that's not his fault. They've done it by the way they've made his character.
Yeah.
The Lone Wolf character I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
They never needed to change that.
Yeah, whatever he did backstage, it made everybody mad when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase a few years ago, and then ended up having his plans get scrapped in a matter of minutes. Then he went to. We have the Happy Corbin thing. We had the Raw General Manager thing and all that.
Constable Corbin, yeah.
Yes, the Constable. I feel for the dude because he is a pretty talented guy.
And he's a good worker.
He is.
His work rate, I would imagine, is probably pretty high.
Yeah. So we'll see where those two end up going. And, of course, the final match of the night. See, I still think Ronda and Charlotte should have been the main event, but this one turned out to be a pretty darned good one. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns and the Usos taking on Drew McIntyre and RK-Bro, and the Bloodline wins this one.
The only thing I don't like is Riddle is taking too many of the pins for the team.
Yeah, but the problem is who is going to take the fall in a match like that?
No, I know, but Riddle seems to take the pin every time. When they lose, whether it's 8-man, 6-man, or just the two of them, and when they lose, it always seems to be Riddle that ends up taking the pin.
Well, right now, I don't think if that team was going to lose, you don't want to put a loss on McIntyre because they are building to him taking on Roman Reigns at that what is the card at the castle or whatever.
That's
they're
not
calling
until
it.
September. They can't. They can't hold off until September, can they?
Yeah, well, it's WWE. But don't you have to have a
WWE championship at SummerSlam at least?
Well, who knows what they're going to do with that? But that is, from what I understand, is the planned main event in Cardiff.
Because it's already been noted that Reigns is not going to defend at Hell in a Cell.
Yes,
which means that'll be back-to-back live pay-per-views where the top belt is not being defended. That's a problem.
I'm sure Reigns will be at SummerSlam, so we'll see what.
But having him not, but he's got. I mean, that means he's not going to be at Money in the Bank. So you're going to have 3 back-to-back premium live events where you're not defending the world championship belt.
Well, I can't imagine he won't be at Money in the Bank either. That would be. I mean, you're at Allegiant Stadium. He's got to be at Money in the Bank.
One would think, but you can't. You shouldn't have him miss two. The World Championship should be defended at every single premium live event.
Should, but we're now in Brock Lesnar land on that, and we're going to talk about that too. But yeah, I mean, but you don't want to have Randy Orton take that fall.
No, but aren't you kind of ruining? I mean, because and I know we're going to get to SmackDown. I guess what happened on SmackDown kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, to a point. So, yeah, but the Bloodline escapes that one, and now we're going to be headed now because it's now on SmackDown. They've announced that we are going to have the tag team title unification match coming up here on SmackDown next week. Okay,
which I don't know what they were doing there.
All right, whatever, all good.
Something's going to happen to cancel that bout too, though. I would imagine you can't. I mean, that's a premium live event bout. It's not a SmackDown.
Why not? That should be the main event of Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, that's my point.
Everybody's excited about this. I don't know.
So what's going to happen is one of the two teams is going to win or lose via disqualification.
Yeah.
Which means you're not going to be able to unify the belt, so they're going to have the rematch at Hell in a Cell.
Hopefully. But, yeah, so that was WrestleMania Backlash. Overall, great card. Probably one of my favorites.
I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. So I would, unlike some WWE events we've seen over the past 6 months, I'd actually say go back and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you didn't see it. So there you go. Then Raw, of course, they tried to screw everything up. Go figure. But, Cody Rhodes comes back, and for some reason, 2 matches in, and they're putting him in a U.S. title match with Theory, and Seth Rollins screws him over. So now we may get another match with Seth Rollins. And look, I get you're trying to milk that cow, but
you can't have Cody lose.
Right.
You can't.
Yeah, I don't. You don't want Cody to lose. I mean, Cody is,
and you can't have Seth lose to the guy 3 times.
Yeah, it's bad for everybody. So I don't get what they're
It's a
doing
no-win situation having that match.
Yeah, they're there's just nothing there. I don't know. But
Seth, it's funny because Seth doesn't lose anything by losing the first two to Cody. He will if he loses the third one.
yes, that's going to suck. But otherwise, not too much happened on Raw, to be honest with you. That was
They fired Sonya Deville.
yeah. And Alexa Bliss is back, so good for her.
We'll see if she's back or that was just a one-off.
Yeah, we'll find out. But
If she's back, the match was all of, 20 seconds?
something like that.
But if she's back, good for her. You did get to see Twisted Bliss, which I like, and she still had Lily with her.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a mixture of the two characters.
Can't we just get my bad little girl back, please? I miss her.
The one that was best friends with Nia Jax until she started calling her fat.
It's before that too. God, just give me my twisted little Miss Bliss.
Yes,
That's what I want. She's such a sweetheart.
she is.
Yeah,
She got married recently too.
Yeah,
Congratulations to her.
Yes, she did. So Raw was Raw, and then we came back and yikers, did we have a night on AEW? And by the way, of course, this is the Mark Hoke Show on KDWN 101.5 FM, 720 AM here in Las Vegas. Thanks for joining us. We certainly do appreciate it. Andrew Fain sitting across the
That's
way
me.
with me. By the way, the hair is less coral. It's starting to fade a little bit.
It is. Just like, never mind. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, just like my the light in my heart.
There you go.
Anyway, so we hit AEW Dynamite on Wednesday and kick it off with Adam Cole against Dax Harwood from FTR.
Which I will tell you, I was surprised that they had Adam Cole win.
Really?
Yeah. I thought they were gonna give Dax a little run.
This is the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. And Adam Cole and Dax Harwood, who had a match with CM Punk a few weeks ago, those two tore it down again. And boy, I'll tell you, the guys in FTR, Harwood and Wheeler, are just showing why they are two of the best wrestlers in the world. And
That's why I thought that they were going to have Harwood win.
well, they had Harwood doing the whole rib injury thing, but terrific match between the two, and Adam Cole does win and move on. So, and I believe he's getting Jeff Hardy, if I remember correctly, in the next round.
Do we know who the Joker is yet?
Nope.
Do you have an idea of who the Joker is?
No idea. Joker will be taking on Samoa Joe. So.
Right. My question is the Joker going to be someone we don't know? Like someone who's not really
You
in
know who
AEW?
I'd love to see?
Bray Wyatt?
Cesaro.
Although I hear Cesaro is asking too much for appearance fees, and that's why he's not being signed anywhere.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so that was the match that kicked off Dynamite. And by the way, we're running out of time on this half hour, so I don't want to get too deep into this next one. Because
that's why I wanted to ask you about the Joker. I was trying to kill a little time. So.
yeah, that's very good of you. Very good of you.
So my question is, do we think it's going to, could it be an Adam Scher, W. Morrissey?
I don't know. I mean, I would lean more towards either Cesaro or somebody on the roster already. Maybe it'll be Captain Insano.
Matt Cardona.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
I'm not kidding.
I know you're not. Matt Cardona.
That'd be a lot of fun. Matt Cardona, oh my God, he'd be carrying all the belts out.
What about Hammerstone?
That would be fun too. I would get a kick out of that.
So would Joe.
Yeah. I don't know if Joe would enjoy a match with Hammerstone. Anyway, all right, so we're getting ready to head to our break, and we'll break down everything that happened on Long Island at AEW Dynamite when we come back from the break. Of course, just want to remind just want to remind everybody, follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show. Website is markhokeshow.com. Podcasts are available at markhokeshow.podbean.com. We do appreciate everybody that's been downloading those podcasts from around the world. It's pretty amazing. And, of course, those shows are up on YouTube, too. We can convert those to video so you can listen to them there on YouTube as well.
You don't get to see our beautiful faces, though.
Yeah, you betcha. All right, so stick around, everybody. We'll be back with more on The Mark Hoke Show right after this. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show. Like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
1015 FM, 720 AM, KDWN, the talk of Las Vegas.
This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
All right, everybody, we are back on the Mark Hoke Show, the number one professional wrestling show on this pretty
planet
blue ball.
With the big, was it the big blue marble?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And we are the best wrestling show ever.
Yeah.
All time. History.
We're pretty solid.
History.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to die laughing because I just was looking on Twitter real quick on the break and saw Bret Hart was trending. No particular reason. There was just a bunch of Bret Hart stuff coming up, and saw the segment on Raw back in '97 where Bret was in the wheelchair and he was in the ring with Shawn Michaels, and Michaels super kicked him out of the through the wheelchair.
See, that was Raw Creative was actually, I don't know, creative.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was a heck of a brawl to end that show. Yikes.
Yikers.
Anyway, so back to AEW Dynamite.
All night. Gimme. That's what I like. It's Dynamite.
So CM Punk on Long Island. Well, of course, he
just going to ignore my Jermaine Jackson?
Yeah, I'm just letting it go. Of course, he and MJF, who is from Long Island, had a little feud a little while ago, in case you forgot about that.
And I have a question about that.
Yeah.
I know AEW's handling it the way you should handle it, but when you have a guy who's supposed to be the biggest heel in the company, but they bring him back home and you just cheer him, how do they, I know it happened with WWE. Brock Lesnar was supposed to be the big bad guy, and he came home to Minnesota, and they could not get them to boo Goldberg. I mean, they could not get them to boo him. They booed Goldberg, who was his opponent at the time. And Vince was livid at Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm guessing they're okay with them cheering MJF, but what do you do? I mean, you can't make the guy a villain in his hometown. He just won't be a villain.
Well, and I think that's part of, you have to anticipate that. And if you watch the broadcast, you knew that they anticipated that.
Well, they anticipated it this time because of what happened last time.
Yeah, well, they knew it was coming.
I mean, to see CM Punk booed out of a building.
And he got totally booed out of the building. He wore an Islanders jersey, but it was with
John Tavares'
name on it, who left the team a while ago to go play for Toronto.
Yeah, unceremoniously.
Yeah, it was not a happy ending for that. And, he wrestled John Silver, who's from Long Island as well, my good buddy Johnny Hungy. Won the match.
Big shock there.
But then, of course, got in a little altercation with Hangman Adam Page, a little verbal altercation.
Well, and I love what Punk did, though. He said, you didn't want to shake my hand before, and I will tell you, I will beat you, and I will stand over you, and I will shake your hand. And then, of course, Page just flipped in the bird.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful work. Great contract signing there, as well as MJF and Wardlow now have their terms set for MJF to get a match.
So it was through the he has to beat Shawn Spears in a cage. Is that correct?
10 lashes. Shawn Spears in a cage match with MJF as the ref. Yeah, and I feel like I'm forgetting something else, but
no, I thought it was that.
But then he's got to beat MJF to get out of the contract.
Right. So it's almost like the 5 tasks of Jericho.
Yeah, it's something along those lines, but I
don't get the 10 lashes part though.
Just wants to hurt him.
Okay, so this is before the match with Spears. He's going to give him 10 lashes.
Yeah.
Then same night he has to. This is all.
No, this will be the next night. Then they're leading up to it. So I imagine it'll go Dynamite, Rampage, and
then Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
How do you think they have him? The only way they can have him beat Spears is have it so that the referee can't do anything but have him win.
Yeah, I mean maybe Warlord gets out of the cage or something like that. So
or it's going to be they're going to make Spears submit or something.
Yeah, we'll see.
It won't be a pinfall. MJF will not count 3.
No,
that's my point.
Yeah, it should be fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of this.
It was because it wasn't a contract signing with one of them flipping the table over and the two of them just going at it, which is what every WWE contract signing is.
And MJF had the Long Island crowd just eating out of his hand. He played it perfectly. It was one of the better contract signings I've ever seen.
No, there is a rumor that MJF is not going to sign an extension with AEW.
He wants a pay raise.
Yeah, he's going to play the field.
And I don't blame him. And from everything that I've heard on the rumor mill, he wants to stay. And honestly, I think he should stay.
Is he the best heel in wrestling right now?
Yes.
Without question.
I'm snapping that off right now, yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you count Bro, I mean,
there we go, snap call.
If you boy, it would be fun to have him and Roman Reigns kind of going at it, but yeah. I
mean, he's the best on the mic right now, is he not?
Absolutely. Even though Reigns is getting there, he's almost there.
Well, but MJF does it by speaking. Reigns does it by not speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. And later on that night, we also had a pretty brutal match with Darby Allin and Jeff Hardy as part of the Owen Hart tournament. They decided to make it a no rules, do whatever you got to do.
The coffin drop that cost him the match, that looked painful.
They did a spot where, in the middle of the match, where Darby set up 8 chairs with 4 facing 4 outside the ring. Hardy was on the chairs and with a ladder set up in the ring, and it looked like it was about a 12 or 15-foot ladder, and Darby jumped off onto Jeff. And it looked like Darby actually got the worst of it.
Yes, it did. And then he did the coffin drop.
Wow. I mean, and there were a couple spots where Jeff Hardy took some pretty nasty bumps in there,
Are
too.
you shocked that they had Hardy win the match?
Yes. I was very surprised.
Is that bad for Darby Allin?
I almost wonder if there's a heel turn coming for him.
He's going to turn. The only way to make it a heel turn that works is he has to turn on Sting specifically.
Yeah. That wouldn't hurt. That's a pretty good way to turn him heel real fast.
That's the only way to do it, though. I mean, he's popular enough that you can't have him just like walk out of a match or something. He has to turn on Sting. Like he has to pull the Seth Rollins with a steel chair.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. But I just, you watch Jeff Hardy and you can just kind of tell that it's getting to the end.
And it's sad, though.
I hate to bust on a guy like him who's done so much in the industry, but it's almost like he's becoming a stunt man more than a wrestler at this point.
Absolutely. Now, in a way, it makes me think that WWE did right by him by letting him go. Maybe they're like, you know what, you've done. This is so unlike WWE that you almost don't buy it. But they were like, you know what, you've done so much for the industry. We're gonna just let you go. We don't care what the story is. We'll make up a story, or whatever, so you can be back with your brother for one final run because you are right near the end.
Well, and the thing is too that they want to set up the Hardys against the Young Bucks. But here's going to be my question: is can the Hardys hang with them at this point? Man, I'll tell you what,
that needed to happen 5 years ago.
Well, it did. They wrestled in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, it needs to happen in a big promotion 5 years ago.
It's going to take everything the Hardys have to be able to keep that pace. Now, are the Young Bucks going to be able to adapt a match? And I mean, they're good enough. They're going to be able to put a match together that's going to be solid, I'm sure.
But my question is, will the Young Bucks' ego allow them to let the Hardys have their, not necessarily win, but have their spots in the match?
I absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they respect them too much.
And is it going to be a lot of a spot fest? Because those are two of the spottiest tag teams in history.
Yeah. Like I said, I think the question is just going to be the pacing of the match. Because they're not going to be able to do what they did a few years ago, I don't think. But we'll see.
It'll be. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not the biggest AEW fan, but that is a match I would absolutely want to see.
Yeah. Well, I think you're going to see it. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Friday, of course, SmackDown. The biggest development on SmackDown is we are going to have that supposedly going to have the unification match we talked about. And boy, did that Riddle put a knee on Roman Reigns at the end of the night.
Beautiful.
I don't know if it was just the camera angle or what, but that looked great.
It really did. It was beautifully done. And I am getting tired of the old line of, I know you guys are stupid, so I'm going to say it slow, because Randy Orton did the same thing. He didn't say stupid. He said, I know you guys have one brain, so I'm going to say it slow. We want a title unification. All right, that's a little played out. But the Riddle, that's what we were saying earlier, that Riddle taking the pinfall was made up for by the knee that he gave Roman Reigns.
That was nice. But, one other match that happened on there that it was a great match, but I wish
Zayn?
No.
Oh.
that I wish hadn't happened was Ronda Rousey against Raquel Rodriguez.
It was a little too early for that. And
why are you They did this to Toni Storm. They did it to Shotzi Blackheart, who's now just Shotzi. And now they did it to Raquel, that they brought him up and they threw him in against the champions almost right away instead of building him up. Why are you taking somebody like Raquel Rodriguez, who is a legit star?
There were some near falls that could have got her. That you actually thought, oh my gosh, she could be able to beat Ronda. And apparently there was some noise backstage from a couple of women who said, why is she getting the title bout that we're not getting?
It didn't make sense to me because this is someone, if you watched her on NXT, was so dominant and she's terrific. Why not build that down the road? That's a SummerSlam match.
Who would you have had come out with Ronda's open challenge? Because basically it happened because Ronda Rousey made an open challenge.
I think at that point,
the John Cena Memorial U.S. title open challenge.
You could have done maybe Aaliyah. You could have made sense Shotzi out.
Well, see, but neither the problem with Aaliyah and Shotzi is neither of those two would be believable to have a near fall on Ronda Rousey.
But does it matter?
It does, because you want to have a match where it's going to be so.
But if you start that open challenge out, okay, so the first time you do the open challenge, it's an easy win. But as it goes along, it gets harder and harder as more people step up in that challenge.
Well, my guess is, and I could be way off here, but the reason why they didn't hold it for SummerSlam is because at one point in one of these open challenges, Bayley is going to be the one who answers the call. And that's going to be the SummerSlam match, is Bayley and Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be great. So.
Unless the other choice, of course, is her open challenge, because it's an open challenge, and she'll say, anyone in the locker room back there, Becky Lynch will come out. And that was Becky and Ronda. And Becky will say, hey, you said open challenge. I may be on Raw, but you said I was in the locker room. You said anyone in the locker room.
Yeah. It'll be there's a lot of directions this could go.
As long as it's not Santina Marella.
I just wish, yeah. She'd kill him.
Yeah, she would.
She would kill him. It would be bad. And of course, we also did have Rampage. Scorpio Sky is not going to be a good guy. That was pretty much established. Thank God. That was probably it. I mean,
wasn't there any more of the Owen Hart tournament on?
The women's,
wasn't it?
The women's
Ruby
Soho beat Riho. Thank God. So that moves on. But there was supposed to be another match, but Chris Statlander is going to be taking Hikaru Shido's spot at that because of that. That was scheduling conflicts. AEW said injury, but she's over in Japan, so don't know what the heck's going on there. But whatever.
So next week is going to be the other half of the bracket for the men, right?
Right.
And it's going to be Samoa Joe and the Joker. And is there another one too?
Yeah. I'll find that bracket in just a sec if you want to stall.
No, absolutely. I still wonder. I mean, could they wouldn't bring in someone like Adam Scherr to be the Joker, right?
Not with the new promotion he's doing.
I mean, so
I can't imagine that.
I mean, Cesaro, they've done, whoever it is, they've done a good job of keeping it. Who is wasn't the Joker last time they did something like this? Who was the Joker? And I think it was the roulette thing.
I forgot. Oh my God!
Wasn't it a big name? Someone they had just introduced. I mean, was John Moxley a Joker at some point?
He might have been. I'd have to go back and look.
No, John Moxley got introduced actually at the end of the Kenny. That's who it is. Kenny Omega.
Yeah. Well. No, Omega's not ready to come back.
He's still not ready? Okay.
No, it's...
Because that would be a hell of a Joker.
That was, yeah, no doubt. Ray Phoenix and Kyle O'Reilly are on the other side of that
yawn.
Bracket. So, what do you mean yawn? Match. Ray Phoenix is...
No, I know it'll be a good match, but Kyle O'Reilly doesn't get the blood boiling as the name of a wrestler. And that's unfortunate because he's a great wrestler.
Yeah. And then the women's side, we're going to get Red Velvet against Chris Statlander, and Dr. Britt Baker also has a Joker.
Who's the women's Joker?
No idea.
Bayley.
Wow.
Dominic Mysterio. Oh, wait, no.
Stop it.
Ava Marie?
No. No, bad fish.
Although I did hear a rumor this week Not that they're going to have Dominic turn on Ray, but they are talking about breaking up the Mysterios.
I did see that. Well, good for them.
And if they decide that Dominic turns on Ray, I'm going to be the happiest man in the world.
Hey, you know who the Joker could be on the men's side?
Who?
The Nature Boy, Ric Flair.
It could be, but oh my goodness.
Did we see this little story that popped up? The Nature's training. Is he saying his prayers, eating his vitamins? I don't know.
I don't hope not.
But apparently, and
he was training with Jay Lethal of all people.
Uncle Dave Meltzer confirmed this, that Ric Flair at 73 years old is training to wrestle again.
But we don't know where.
No idea. Would imagine it would probably be AEW. That would be my hunch. But Flair tweeted a video with him training with Jay Lethal.
By the way, I just thought of the ultimate Joker. Considering it's the Owen Hart tournament, Shane McMahon.
What if it's Brett?
You know, it's not going to be Brett. But think about it. Shane McMahon is the ultimate F you to your dad for firing him. And because it's the Owen Hart tournament.
I don't think Martha would stand for that.
He was the greatest. He was the greatest in the world, right?
I think Owen's wife would be a little bit ticked off.
Yeah, I know so.
Just a tad.
If it was the other way around and it was McMahon's holding this tournament, that would be the perfect. He would be the perfect entrant.
But what are your thoughts about Ric Flair get back into the ring?
Sad. I think it is legacy. I don't know if it's possible to ruin his legacy. But it won't be you don't want that. You want the last memory of him to be that. My last memory of him, even though I know he fought in TNA afterwards, my last memory of him is still the Shawn Michaels match, which even for his age then was amazing. I don't need to see him doing it again.
I'm very torn on this in terms of, man, I just wish he'd let it go.
Yeah,
you know, and look. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. You know, it's his life. If he wants to get into the ring at 73 years old or 83 years old, that's his business. You know, but from my standpoint, number one, I don't want to see anything happen to the guy.
No, absolutely not.
I do remember when I was young, Lou Thez wrestled when he was 71 and, did a match.
Thez Press?
Yeah, the man, that's who was the name of the Thez Press. Yes, you are correct, sir. But I would just be, and I just remember Rick on a hospital bed a few years ago.
Yeah, thinking he was about to die.
Nearly died. And he could be doing anything he wants. And I just wish that Rick could take the Nature Boy and make it a persona and not the person. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. But my question is it possible for him to put on a match that is not going to be a train wreck?
I think, and that's a big question, a good question. I don't think so. It depends. If you put him in a tag match, maybe if you put him in a 6-man or something like that, I know there may have been a possibility he wanted to do something with Andrade down in Mexico.
His son-in-law?
His soon-to-be son-in-law. So that's a possibility that you may be able to get him in and do some spots and get him in and get him out. I mean, he can always, take a few bumps and, because in that video he's taking bumps with
Jay Lethal.
With Lethal.
He absolutely is.
As long as you're careful. I mean, if there's anybody, I will say this, if there's anybody that could figure it out and make it look decent, if you're telling me one guy that could help put together that match and make it not look horrible, it would be Rick.
My problem is we saw The Undertaker, Kane, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. They're about 15 to 20 years younger, and they looked over the hill when they were wrestling. And as that looked, even the training video, everything still looked like it was in slow motion, even though it was at full speed.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah. I just if I were advising Rick, And be like, keep doing music videos, keep making appearances. Man,
Keep your name out there, absolutely.
Go to a nightclub in Dubai. Head down to Antarctica and check that out.
Don't take any planes.
You know, enjoy your life, brother. You know.
Why Antarctica? Is that something he wants to do?
No, it'd be something cool to do.
Very cool. It's cold in Antarctica.
It'd be fun. You know, just to say you were there. I don't know if he's ever been to Antarctica.
Wrestle in Antarctica?
Wrestle a match in Antarctica. But live your life.
Yeah.
And stop being the nature boy for a little while. You know, that's just me.
You've already styled and profiled.
You've done it all, man. And you've
wheeled and dealed.
You can do more, and you can have fun the rest of your days. So take advantage of it. You know, use that cachet that you build up all your life.
Being the nature boy. Because, like I said, I don't know if it could ruin his legacy because his legacy is so great, but it could ruin his memory.
Yeah, and even the matches in TNA were like, ugh. I mean, the match with him, Mick Foley, yeah.
And well, no. That's also because you can't put those two guys together at this point.
It was a bad idea. So
because Mick Foley can't move either.
Yeah. Well, speaking of bad ideas, by the way, don't know if you saw this last night at the IWE show in Augusta, Georgia. There's a wrestler named Joe Black.
Meet Joe Black.
He is a pretty solid dude.
Yes, he is.
He doesn't seem like he is a person that you would want to mess with.
No, and I'm guessing he's a heel.
Guessing so. Looks like they were wrapping a match up, and he was talking to a fan at a barricade. You got to put the picture together here. Small,
like armory style thing.
Yeah, you know, like small ECW arena atmosphere.
Yeah, there was maybe 100 people there.
A couple hundred people, yeah. And there's this bearish-looking fellow.
Who, to be honest with you, if you looked at him, you could have believed that he was a wrestler that was just sitting in the audience.
You could have. And the guy, they're jawing a little bit, and the guy flips his hat off. And, you know, wrestlers do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Joe Black flips the guy's hat.
Yeah. Mr. Bear Dude
went 8 bananas.
Headbutts Joe Black over the railing.
Big mistake.
Joe Black went after him. Not once, but twice. He was not happy. And this video has been viewed about 250,000 times already since last night.
Not a good idea. I don't care how big and strong you are. Not a good idea to go after a wrestler.
No, this is... And, you know, it's funny because, you know, we see, like, MJF takes people's hats and tosses them off. You know, we see people's getting their signs ripped up.
Yeah, who was it that poured a beer over someone's head? There was a WWE wrestler that walked by.
I can't remember.
It was relatively recently, but yeah.
You know, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt, and, you know, it's part of the act. And if you're sitting at ringside and you're jawing with a wrestler, you got to expect that the wrestler.
Yeah, if you put out your hand to high five and the guy just fakes like he's going to high five you and walks away.
You do that on a reality of wrestling show and get embarrassed.
You don't attack the wrestler.
Yeah, Fish didn't jump the dude.
Exactly. Although I had every right to.
No, you didn't. Booker T would have killed you. Actually, he'd killed me first.
I never would have done it.
You.
Obviously, I never would have done
it. But just, you know, I guess you kind of have to be careful, especially in, you know, you know, we saw Seth Rollins get attacked a while back.
Yep.
But, you know, that was certainly unprovoked. You know, but man, if you're gonna start trash talking with a wrestler, you have to understand that, you know, they might do something silly like that just to draw a little extra heat. But you can't go and headbutt the dude. You know, control.
Will a wrestler kick your butt? Security will do it first.
Did you? I showed you the video. There was the security piled up on this guy
quickly,
and then Joe Black ran around security and
pounded him. And the guy has no recourse there. That's, you know what I'm saying? The guy can't now sue Joe Black for beating him up.
No, you are a moron, sir. Congratulations. But check that video out. It's pretty cool.
We missed you, Joe.
So, speaking of checking out videos, you can go to YouTube and we'll have this show and all the other ones up. Check out those podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. Fish, thank you for joining the show today. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
Mark Hoke Show on Twitter, The Mark Hoke Show on Facebook, markhokeshow.com. Guys, we will see you next week on The Mark Hoke Show. Maybe on Saturday again. We'll find out. Kind of an open spot sometimes if we get it, so join us there too. But we thank you all around the world for listening to The Mark Hoke Show. You guys have a great Sunday afternoon here in Las Vegas. We'll catch you next week. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join The Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.